The holidays are a really tricky time because typically the food that is served is a love language. Anyone who brings food in, a side dish, a dessert for everyone to have, it's a means of sharing in that experience together. And so if you feel obligated to interact in that way, that's normal. Like, how can you show up in a way that you feel good about, given the parameters, whether your family is helpful or not, right? You can still set the standard for how you want to show up in those interactions. I would say if you're wanting to be more intentional this holiday season, be mindful of what you're trying to get out of the experience.
Happy holidays from Aware Fitness and Nutrition. I'm Matt, and today I was lucky enough to sit down with our head of nutrition, Meagan Ryan, to talk about eating at the holidays. The holidays can be a great time to connect with friends and family, but it also can be very stressful, especially when it comes to food. In today's conversation, Meagan offers some practical tips to make this holiday season one of contentment and joy rather than anxiety and dread. So check it out.
The holidays are a really tricky time because typically the food that is served is a love language. Whoever, is hosting, that is an act of love because they're not only having you in their home, they're cooking this huge elaborate meal for you. Anyone who brings food in as like a side dish, as a dessert for everyone to have, it's a means of sharing in that experience together. And so if you feel obligated to interact in that way, that's normal. Like, that is okay to want, well, one, to want to do that, and for two, to actually engage in that. But what I want you to be mindful of is like, don't lose yourself in that. We can have the best of both worlds here. We can say, I love participating in this way in my family. I love receiving love in this way, but I can also set a boundary with myself and say, I know I'm going to feel sick if I overdo it. And that's not serving anyone here, especially myself. It's not doing anything good for any of us. That's what I like to tell everyone is play the balance game. Like, how can you have what you want and eat it too, I guess, like for a food pun in there.
I know a lot of, especially if we're talking about a love language, as somebody who's made Thanksgiving dinner for people, it's a big deal. Like, it takes all day. Have you ever had to give advice to clients or have people come to you and said, like, you know what, I just told my family, hey, this is what's going on with me. Have you had any success stories of people like that?
Of course, yeah. If you have a family that is open to receiving feedback around what you're needing, then by all means, be open and honest with them, right? Like, I'm sure they would appreciate that. But I also can acknowledge that not all of us have families like that. And that's where the obligation piece really comes into play around like, I feel like I need to eat this because if I don't, there's a negative repercussion on the other end of that interaction, whether it's like a passive aggressive remark from grandma or aunt, or someone's always talking about the diet that they're on so they can't eat this food item, right? Like, so everybody's family dynamic is a little different, but you always have a little bit of control over yourself in those situations. And that's what I always try to get you to understand is like, how can you show up in a way that you feel good about, given the parameters, whether your family is helpful or not, right? You can still set the standard for how you want to show up in those interactions. And yes, if your family is not as, helpful, it's going to be uncomfortable the first few times that you do it, and that's okay. Like, it's okay. It will pass. The storm will pass. It's a day, it's 2 days, the holidays, they come and they go every year, but at least it's another time for you to practice setting boundaries, because if you can do it with your family, you can do it with anybody else. Like, doing it with your family is probably the hardest boundaries you'll have to set, just because there is more of that obligation or those kind of like intense feelings around it.
I think, does a lot of it come down to the individual's desire to be like, I want to show you love and I have to love myself. I want to be here and I don't want to be falling asleep on the couch with a bellyache because I don't know how that's me showing love either. It's just like another cultural thing where it's like, you better overeat, dude, and undo your top belt buckle.
Yeah, I think overeating is the expectations of the holidays, unfortunately. But that's where tell everybody pause. Let's pause. Let's think about this because, too, another dynamic I see is we will overeat out of obligation and then we'll start to resent either that situation, we'll start to have negative feelings towards ourselves, and then it can just reinforce this negative thought pattern around food and how we're feeling in our bodies instead of taking the time to just pause and be like, am I full? Am I not full? Do I want to keep eating? Am I intentionally going to overeat? And just like know that I'm doing that and being okay with that. So giving yourself like pausing gives you power. And that's what I always tell you, like, you have options. You just have to slow down to recognize what they are.
Pausing gives you power. I like that.
Hey there, I really hope you're enjoying this conversation about holiday eating. I know how especially stressful this time of year can be, so I created something to keep you grounded, keep you centered, and it's going to be my happy holiday guide. It's going to have 6 bullet items on a checklist for you to make sure that you're staying on track and you're not getting lost in the sauce, literally, I guess, pun intended. So if you'd like to check that guide out, click the link below and I'll make sure it gets to your inbox.
As somebody who would come in and be like, I don't know, I just start eating, like I never pay attention to anything. I got 72 dishes in front of me and I'm like, I'm trying
You're
this.
drowning. Like
Yeah.
the image that comes to my mind around like any kind of food feast that we go into without being mindful is like we're drowning before we ever start, right? Because we're in we have all these food options in front of us. We're overwhelmed. We're feeling obligated to eat all of it. Our logical brain goes completely offline. We can't even think straight, right? Like the option to like take some of that to go in a Tupperware just like leaves the building, right? Like it's all no, I just need to eat it all now.
Yeah, especially when I know I'm going to be taking some anyway. Like,
Yeah,
not only am I going to gorge myself right now, I'm also taking some home.
yeah, yeah.
If making myself sick to show my family that I love them, then that's not really me showing that I love anybody. That doesn't,
Right.
yeah, that doesn't connect.
Yeah. And you can and that goes back to the obligation piece. It's like you can feel obligated to eat the food and want to eat the food that your family members make, and that's totally fine. But is your family member going to remember, how much love they feel from you based on how much of that food that you ate or just that you ate the food?
That
Even if you take it to go, it's like if I make something, I will remember like if someone took a slice of it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is really good." I never look at the plate to see how much they ate of that. I just remember that they participated, they validated how good it was and that they took some home to go. Like that's how I know like they're showing their appreciation. It's never about how much of it that they ate.
if I were to kind of put this together, come in with that game plan of like, hey, I'm going to listen to my body a little bit more this holiday. Is that a good place to start?
Yeah, I would say if you're wanting to be more intentional this holiday season, be mindful of what you're trying to get out of the experience, right? Like, is it receiving love from your family members? Is it participating in tradition? Like, what is it about the holiday that you're wanting to give and receive? And how can we do that with and without food? Because a lot of times we put so much emphasis on food being the only way that we can accomplish all of that. When in reality, if we just kind of brainstorm some ideas here, we can figure out how to do that without it only being on food. And then the second piece of it is like, slow down. Actually enjoy your holiday, right? Like the holidays come and go. We always say it comes and goes so fast. But if you actually slow down, it doesn't have to go by fast. You can actually enjoy the smaller moments. You can enjoy the company that you're having, and you can be intentional with your choices around food. Like all of those things can coexist.
And then when I slow down, I can have that moment to be like, "Oh, I'm good. I don't I don't need anything else right now."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you actually get to experience contentment. Like when's the last time you felt content?
I'll let you know.
Yeah. Pending.
Yeah, loading. Pending, yeah, contentment is loading. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's really helpful for me as we head into the holiday season, but I hope for anybody that's listening to this, because sometimes I'll put expectations on myself that aren't even aligned with the people that I'm with.
Right.
You know, like, oh, I have to do this. It's like, says who? Like, I don't have the stereotypical grandmother who's there being like, you gotta eat, you gotta fatten you up, Matt. Like, there's none of that happening. In fact, there's quite the opposite. It's usually just like, oh, this is all I'm having today. And it's like, great, cool. And I'm just over here being like, well, then I better. And maybe it's a food waste thing that I get nervous about food waste. But it's just
Yeah.
like, if I go in knowing that I'm going to be taking some home, why am I fretting about food waste right now?
It's a food rule, Matt.
I know. I know. We're working on it. We're working through them.
It's a food rule. And what do we say about food rules? If your behaviors are a result of food rules, you're not connected to your body. You're not connected to what you're needing in the moment.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
I appreciate the clarity. Being called out always. No, I
I
do
mean, that
appreciate.
goes for anyone. It's just a helpful reminder because we are like those food rules are so subconscious that we don't even realize they have such an impact on our behaviors, right?
Yeah.
But it's just a subtle reminder of like, okay, what is that voice in my head trying to tell me to do, and is it actually in alignment with what I want? And if it's a no, then it's probably a food rule lingering up there in your brain somewhere trying to wreak havoc.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, and it is. And it is. And it's like when I say it out loud, I hear instantly like, that's ridiculous. What am I
Yeah.
doing? But when I'm not saying it out loud and it's in front of me and I'm just like, no one's going to eat this. I'm like,
Yeah,
where's this going? Who's this helping? It's not
exactly.
helping me. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Ah, well, happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Hopefully we
thank,
didn't scare you off.
thank you, Megan.